again for joining Real Talk. I'm your host, Natoya Perkins. Today, we want to share with you another story from a very experienced young man. He started out as a teacher and now he's completely evolving in the food industry. I want you to stay with us to hear more from my guest. If you are joining us for the first time on my channel, I would like you to go ahead and subscribe and click that bell so that you may receive other notification for future videos to come. Norman Grant Jr., thanks for joining Real Talk with me today and sharing your story.
Thank you, and thanks for having me. It's a pleasure joining your program. I find it fun, so it's a privilege to be on your program.
Wow, I feel blessed. I'm touched.
Thank
All
you.
right, so just let's jump right into it. And I want you, Norman, to tell us about your humble beginning. Where did you start out?
I'm a regular country boy. I was born in St. Mary, Islington, St. Mary. My mom was a teacher,
Okay.
and so my sister and I were born there, and then she transitioned to St. Thomas. That's where it all started for me. That's where the bulk of my memory is in Yala, St. Thomas. But we grew up very poor. My dad was got up one day, said he was going to work. I think I was somewhere around 9 or 10. He went to work and he never returned.
Oh, wow.
So, and my mom at the time she had 5 kids for him. They were married, and she was a teacher. And if you remember, back in the 80s, teachers weren't really making much.
Right.
So it was a constant struggle. I remember many days she would take us, show us the cupboards in the house, and she would say there's no food. She would pull us to pray. She would send us to play, and some miraculous way food would arrive.
Right.
And
Put the
so
pot on is like putting the pot without food and it
put
just
in the pot
arrived.
without food, and it came. And it was always what we needed. Sometimes it's starch, and another time it's a protein. So it did help us to gel, all 5 of us, to become creative. And I guess that's where my creative genes came from. We didn't have TV, so we learned to create different games amongst ourselves. Who could write would write, who could draw would do the illustrations. And I just cooked in my creative stuff. So I drew a lot. I would experiment a lot with food. It built me into who I am today.
Wonderful. This is so interesting. So you see your mother getting these things, and every day she said she doesn't have any money.
Right.
No money. I don't have any money. I don't have, but you see food coming
But
in.
it's the food coming in.
Every day you never have any money. But now that you have shared your humble beginnings and where you're coming from, I want you to tell us now, how did you start out as a teacher?
I want to say I was cursed from the womb. That's the way I put it. My mom said I shouldn't put it like that, but when she was in teachers college, she was pregnant with me.
Okay.
And so I guess all the skills that she admired in people, I came with a natural inkling to. So she used to watch people draw, and I just became naturally talented at drawing. She kind of envied my dad's cooking. I wouldn't say envied, but he was the better cook. And I came with the talent. So singing, everything that she looked at and liked, I came with the abilities to do.
You probably have to sing a tune for us at the end.
Oh, but it was good because for me, teaching came natural. And so when I graduated high school, she said you need to find something that's secure, and teaching would be a good one. I did 1 year of marring, I guess. 1 year she got me a teaching job at a primary school, and I did a year, and I liked it. And the principal then said, you should go into college. So I applied to Michael and started it. That's where I got my first baptism into teaching, and I've never fallen out of love with teaching.
Wow. I love it, and I know you're loving it too. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with more on Real Talk. Welcome back to Real Talk. Then if you've never fallen out of love with teaching, tell us now, what made you just, I know you said earlier that you had the talent and you put your hands and make fashion to make the food taste nice, because no TV. But how is it that a passion for teaching and then all of a sudden 360-degree change into the food industry?
Because it wasn't just teaching that I had a love for.
Okay.
I've always loved the kitchen. Like I said, from childhood days, it was just a place for escape for me. And I could be my most expressive self in the kitchen. And so I wanted to go in that path. I did. I think I taught for 8 or 9 years. And then I said I wanted to pursue my first love. So I said I was going to understudy. I was doing little caterings here and there on the side. And I just wanted to say I wanted to do elevated Jamaican cuisine. So I wanted to study fine dining in details, and then take that to make my own restaurant. So that's started the journey.
Okay. Okay. So tell me, what's the difference between the fine dining on just naturally, cooking and catering? What's a big difference about that?
Well, catering, and there are levels to catering, but for the most part, people like buffet style setting. It's cheaper, easier to execute, and you have a lot of restaurants who could you set up some steam pans, you put the food out, and people just come get served and go. I have always been fascinated with the presentation of food, to appeal to the palate before you even take that first bite. And so when I first came to the US to understudy a fine dining restaurant for a year, it was a resort at the time. One of the things I took pride in was do the really fancy decorated plates, the fruit carvings, the vegetable carvings, that kind of stuff. And I would, whenever they got to the point where whenever they wanted to land like big accounts, I helped them to land an account with Timberland. That was 1,500 employees who were coming to the resort. So when the managers came, they had me do all these showcase plates and put in the rooms that they were coming in. And they brought back the plate to me there. Norman, look, they left a note. This plate is too beautiful for me to eat. So here, but they won the bid, and it was those are the stuff that just kind of buoyed me to just go forward.
It must have been so exciting to see how people really enjoyed your presentation to the max that they don't even want to eat it.
Yeah.
I can just imagine your feeling, and it pushes you to want to go further into
further, yeah.
Gotcha. Norman, it was a pleasure having you. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, share and comment. Thanks for watching. See you next time on Real Talk with Natoya Perkins.